Gee, the next item, let's see. It's the Fred Tjardes School of Innovation proposal. And board members, this is an action item. I'll be glad to receive a motion in a second, and I'll read a resolution that will help direct the flow of thought toward this, and then we'll have some presentation and discussion. So here we go with a motion, please.
I move that the Board of Education of Weld County School District 6 approve the Fred Tjardes School of Innovation proposal as presented and authorize the officers to sign any and all contracts and resolutions.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I'd like to read a rather lengthy presentation, so sit back and relax because it's going to be exciting. Resolution of the Board of Education of Weld County School District 6. Resolution to support the Fred Tjardes School of Innovation plan. Whereas the Board of Education is committed to leading the nation's cities in student achievement, high school graduation, college preparation, and college matriculation, and whereas the Board of Education is committed to improving the quality and effectiveness of each of its schools, and whereas the Board of Education believes that we must develop new innovative approaches to teaching and learning in our existing and future schools by giving schools more autonomy over the critical areas of personnel, use of time, use of money, expanding choices, and building the capacity for innovation, and holding schools accountable for improving student achievement, and whereas the Innovation Schools Act provides the critical means for schools and the district to accelerate progress toward our goals, and whereas the Board of Education has considered the innovation plan for Fred Tjardes School of Innovation and found that it meets all of the needs and expectations of the Innovation Schools Act, including that it is fiscally feasible and that it will not result in lower student performance. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the innovation plan as submitted by the Department of Academic Achievement under the Innovation Schools Act. The district shall hold Fred Tjardes School of Innovation accountable on an annual basis for progress and toward goals of its innovation plan and their school improvement plan using District 6 School Performance Framework, and report the progress to the Board of Education and the Colorado Department of Education. And 3, the Office of Assistant Superintendent of Academic Achievement will be responsible for the continued review and accountability of all instructional elements of the plan, including any academic waivers of the district's curricular policies. Should we vote to approve this, I will sign that resolution. Dr. Pilch, can I turn to you for some filler on this action?
My pleasure. And I'll invite our presenters to start to make their way to the podium too while I open this up. So as I said, I'm very excited to be bringing this plan to you all for approval tonight. I think you know the history, but I'm going to share it just for the benefit of those who are here tonight in the boardroom and who might be watching. So over a year ago, right after I came on contract, I invited Courtney Luce to come in and meet with me and talk about the possibility of a charter school proposal. And I invited Courtney to consider the possibility of coming to work directly with us as a district team, with the possibility of this actually being a district sanctioned and monitored and supervised school in lieu of a charter school within the district. So over the last year or so, we have been working very closely with the 3 individuals who you're going to hear from tonight. You'll hear from some of our staff as well who have worked closely with them. But we've been able to work closely with them, and I am so very proud of these 3 staff members, our 3 staff members who bring you this proposal this evening, and they have my full endorsement in approving this as a school here in District 6. So I'll pass it off now to Courtney Luce, I believe, and she'll introduce her co-presenters and get started with the presentation. Thanks, Courtney.
Thank you. Just need a second. It's really great to be in this moment right now.
Enjoy this moment. Please enjoy it. You look great.
First off, thank you to the District 6 board and the District 6 leadership team. We've really appreciated this opportunity to partner with everyone over this last year, and we're sincerely grateful to be presenting our official plan in front of you tonight. I'm Courtney Luce, and I'm an instructor at the University of Northern Colorado in the School of Teacher Ed. I'm also a PhD candidate in educational psychology, and a former middle school and high school English teacher.
David Edwards. I'm a middle school math teacher currently at university schools in the district.
Want to fix the microphone? Yeah, there you go.
And I'm Caitlin Konechny, and I currently teach here in District 6 at Scott Elementary Kindergarten.
So as a team, we've spent the past 3 years collectively studying, researching how students learn, grow, and become motivated. And what we've been in search of is an answer to the question, how do we prepare students for an ever-accelerating world while also meeting high levels of rigorous educational demand? So our innovation plan before you tonight is an answer to that question. Tonight we'll explain how we've designed this innovative curriculum in order to teach our students to become problem solvers and problem finders. Modern society needs its students of the future to be able to develop the answers to some very tough questions that the next generation will face. We will show how our agile model will meet the needs of individual and diverse students so that they may reach their unique full potential. Not just the potential that's bound by grade levels, standards, or societal and cultural expectations. We will identify how people are currently seeking out a new model and how parents are recognizing that maybe the model that served them well might not best meet the needs of their own children in this rapidly changing world. We are proposing a rigorous and innovative education design that asks students to take ownership of their own learning, that pushes boundaries in what we think students can do, that values flexibility as a way to adapt to the world while meeting needs of students' individual educational goals. By opening as a new school with a staff who desires to work in this unique structure, by training that staff and giving them ownership and autonomy within the model, and by allowing for flexibility to encourage growth, we know that we will combat the obstacles that often get in the way of true educational change. Albert Einstein said, "A ship is always safe at shore, but that's not what it's built for." We come to you today asking that you allow us to take this ship out to sea. We know it's ready.
The decisions we have made in relation to the Fred Tjardes School of Innovation have been informed by our mission statement. One element of our mission statement that has influenced our decision about school location was our desire to create local partnerships that will allow students to engage with their community. As we were looking into potential locations, we first noted that the downtown Greeley neighborhoods were largely underserved and did not have nearby access to neighborhood schools. We also intentionally sought out a downtown location, knowing that it would allow students to more easily interact with and learn from individuals within our local arts and business communities. This location at 8th Avenue and 6th Street will offer students and collaborators opportunities to leave our physical school building and see their learning applied and in action within Greeley.
I'm going to have you guys stop for just a second. I'm sorry to do that, but your slideshow is not presenting on
Is it, oh, I'm sorry.
the TV.
Just hit presentation? I think we're good.
Well, the TV, it is not showing on the TV. Oh. So do you wish it, and I think you wish it to be showing on the television.
really?
There we
To
go.
our viewers, yes.
Yes.
I thought you were looking out for your poor confused boy.
You know,
That's fine.
that's what happens.
Care of us again.
That's my husband at home texting me saying, the PowerPoint is not working. You love it?
It takes a village, Dr. Pilch.
No
Thank
one
you
else
very much.
watches the board meetings but my husband. We know that. We know that.
Well, I said we had a number of viewers, and one is a number, so.
All right, are you comfortable picking up right there? Okay. Yeah, you're on.
Okay.
And you're on school
Yeah.
location.
Okay.
Once these monitors show
yeah,
what's being
you're good.
broadcast.
Outside of our instructional model, there are several features that will make our school unique. We believe that it's important to maintain a small school feel, and we will therefore begin with about 100 students. As we grow in the future, we will create micro schools within the larger school setting, with each segment of 90 to 100 students retaining some individual characteristics. We recognize the importance of relationships in learning. Therefore, our teachers, who will be called collaborators, will work with a maximum of 15 to 18 students. Students will work with their main collaborator to develop individual learning plans. We will not have traditional grade levels or content area classes either. Our bands will be flexible and include students of various ages. Student workspace will also not be traditional. Our students will help to design a learning space that encourages movement and creativity and allows students to flexibly move between working individually and collaboratively with others. We will also use a teacher-led model in which the teachers who work closely with the students in the school are empowered to make decisions regarding the educational program.
Keeping in mind research on how natural learning occurs and combining those ideas with high-impact instructional strategies, we created the driving force behind our school, the loop. This table represents how students will progress on a journey that is specifically tailored to their individual needs, their learning preferences, and their interests. Collaborators or teachers will work closely with each child to develop a personalized learning plan that incorporates the required state standards and reflects targeted areas of growth. Each child will become informed and inspired by new ideas. They will research and explore new concepts. They will reflect on the progress they are making, and ultimately, they will create a final product that synthesizes their learning in an innovative way. This final product or presentation of learning will then be shared with the entire learning community. It will be shared with their families as well as our local community. It will allow students to give back what they have learned with the hope that this loop of learning will begin again.
What you have before you is just a sample of some academic goals and measures that we will use to measure learning. For our goals, we have a combination of traditional and non-traditional measures. And the goals that we have identified are linked to our mission. And we've established measures to make sure that we meet the areas such as problem solving, critical thinking, state standards in all of the content areas, and goals and measures surrounding community, citizenship, and government. Our assessments will be a combination of traditional and non-traditional assessments with a focus on agility, flexibility, competency, and relationship building between collaborators and student. We will utilize non-traditional assessments such as daily performance reviews, weekly meetings, and cumulative portfolios and public presentations to determine progress towards standards and student needs in instruction. We will also use traditional measures, such as PARC and progress monitoring, in order to ensure that we're meeting student needs within the program and to make adjustments when necessary.
A 5-year budget has been developed in order to determine the sustainability of the School of Innovation. The first-year projection expects a minimum of 92 enrolled students to allow for a budget-neutral scenario. This includes operational startup costs. As of today, the district has received open enrollment forms for 72 students. One-time facility costs are funded through the capital projects and food services funds. The food services funds will support the purchase of nutrition equipment, and the capital projects fund will support the construction costs as well as mechanical, electrical, and plumbing updates for the building. The district expects to generate healthy revenue subsequent to the first year of the school's inception. This is possible even with the student count remaining constant at 92 students, since the initial startup costs will not be a factor in year 2. The School of Innovation will work collaboratively with the Finance Department to implement sound financial policies and procedures similar to those utilized throughout the system. The school will be audited by the district internal auditor to ensure internal controls and financial procedures and practices are followed.
Our goal is to be a truly integrated school with a demographic that represents our Greeley population. Initially in our process, we asked families to complete an intent to enroll form in order to gather data on the interest in a school like this within our community. You can see those numbers reflected on the column on the left. We have now currently collected open enrollment forms for 47 unique families with a total of 71 school-age students for this coming fall. Within this, we have a demographic of 46% of students who qualify for free and reduced lunch, and we feel very confident that our marketing plan for additional recruitment will ensure that we fulfill our targeted enrollment numbers and demographic.
In an effort to recruit students, we have presented at 3 community meetings and completed one walk of the neighborhood around the school site. We have an additional community meeting planned for later this week, and we'll conduct several more neighborhood walks. To date, as Caitlin said, we have collected enrollment forms for 71 students, and we are confident that we will reach our goal by March 10th. I get the pleasure of closing here, so thank you for embarking on this journey with us. We have appreciated your support and your questions, and we're excited about the possibility of bringing this school to the students of Greeley.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mandy Hydock, for stepping in and offering some information about your job attached to this. Dr. Pilch, anything else at this point? And I'll open it to board questions.
I know there were some questions that arose over the last week about safety and security, and so we have Mr. Gates available. Why don't we go ahead and let him address the concerns around safety and security, or questions around safety and security, and then I'll pick it up from there.
Thank you. Mr. Gates, welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Do you want Julia to ask the question, and then?
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention
Yeah,
to
sorry.
anybody
Oh, no.
seeking my attention.
No, that-
Go right ahead, Julia, please.
There have been some questions from community members about the location of the school and about having our students in a place that is safe and supportive to the learning environment. So could you just tell us your review of the location and your thoughts?
I'd be happy to. I had previously had the occasion to look at the blueprints for the school with Ms. Hydock. We were able to determine that appropriate modifications had been made to the site, but really couldn't determine that from my perspective until we did a site visit, which we did a comprehensive site visit last week, myself, Ms. Hydock, and Mr. Francis, our purchasing manager. There are a lot of doors. As I perused the building before I'd been inside, I wanted to be sure that we had plans for those. They do have plans for those. The doors are going to be secured. Essentially, the school will be totally secured by the current plan, with the one door being designated as a buzzer video door that we have in our current elementary, K-8, and middle school. So it's a unique site, as you're probably aware, because it's commercial in nature and sort of goes into two different back areas that are, the entrance is controlled by overhead doors. Those two will be secured. So in summary, I feel really comfortable after visiting the site that both our students and staff will be safe, secure in the building. There are a couple of issues that we don't necessarily have at other sites. I know the question came to me about 2 liquor establishments that are close. I wish it weren't the case with any of our schools, just because it's usually not an ideal situation. Frankly, we have some schools that have infrastructure closer to liquor sites than even this does, but I think it's going to be inherent upon the district, and I would take the lead on this if you opt to approve this, to visit with both WeldWorks and the liquor store on the corner of 8th Avenue and 5th Street, both of which are reputable establishments, to let them know that we have plans for a school at the site so that we can all work collaboratively to prevent anything inappropriate from happening. Then the other issue, which we don't have at hardly any of our sites, is the close access to railway, which we do have here. And the best resolution that I have for that presently is that I will ensure that we line up a railway safety presentation from Union Pacific. We've had that done at Jefferson School, which would be the next closest site to railway. So I feel comfortable in that regard too, that the staff will be educated appropriately in the event of a spill or something on a railway that might necessitate we evacuate the school in short order. If I didn't answer your questions and there are additional questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
And to this question, any other board member have a comment or question specifically to Mr. Gates' presentation?
Yes.
Mr. Hall.
Seems like I overheard that there was going to be a playground somewhere around, or there was a desire to have a playground or outside activity area or something?
No, any of the outside activity will take place in our local parks.
Okay.
Here in
All right.
Greeley.
I just didn't know. I just knew there had been some discussion. Thank you.
Mr. Gates, thank you very much.
Certainly.
Dr. Pilch?
Thank you, Mr. DeWitt. So I just feel like I need to go on the record and say that I am recommending your approval of the Fred Tjardes School of Innovation for a District 6 school. I feel very confident that the staff have prepared a plan that is visionary as well as personalized. It fits very nicely with our strategic plan and our desire to be innovative and provide a safe and caring environment and personalized learning for students. So I think it does all of those things. Also, I would say to each of you that they are ready tomorrow to hit the street knocking on doors to begin their recruitment plan. They haven't really even advertised yet, and we have 71 families who have requested the school. So we're 20 shy of our goal. And we will over-enroll this first year to make sure that we hit our goal. But once you approve their plan, they will begin recruiting tomorrow. And I would encourage any parents who are watching and who would like to have their child in this school that they begin that open enrollment process right away. We will run the open enrollment process up to March 15th. Is that correct, or March 1? 10th, see? There we go. So up to March 10th. So we have between now and March 10th to accept open enrollments into the school.